and it made things right. I was at a low.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. The U.S. deploys the 101st Airborne Division very close to Russia. U.S. troops end up building trenches and stage helicopter attacks and fire artillery. This is the 101st, one of the most important divisions of the U.S. Army, and it says that it is currently training in southeast Romania, close to where Moscow is stockpiling weapons, and it says that the division soldiers have also been deployed to the country's north, just a few miles from the UKR border, to train alongside Romanian troops. According to the report, the U.S. troops are building trenches, staging helicopter attacks, and firing artillery close to Kherson. It says the report noted that this was the first time the unit had been stationed in Europe since World War II. The American soldiers are currently present more closely to the conflict in UKR than in any other U.S. Army unit. It says the United States Army 101st Airborne Division is a modular infantry division that has received special training for air assault missions. The 101st Airborne Division is a United States Army infantry division that specializes in air assault tasks. It says that it rose to prominence during WW2 for its role in the Battle of the Bulge and the Normandy landings. During Vietnam War, the 101st Airborne Division was reclassified twice, first as an air mobile division and subsequently as an air assault division. So these guys are nothing to play with. They are one of our most insane, units, and they are now deployed and even digging trenches. So there's not too many dots to connect here. I think that people should be becoming aware of like what is happening right now and really start to say, hey, maybe we might want to get prepared. This and everything else that has transpired in the last 24 hours, we will be talking about tonight on Marfoogle TV. So make sure to join us. Stick around. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. I was at a low, I was on a high, back when I met Jesus Christ, and it made things right. I was at a low, I was on a high, back when I met Jesus Christ, and it made things right.
All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we are going to go over a lot of stuff, and again, there is a ton of information over on our website, including a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you here today. We're going to go over about 15 to 20 articles here, including some op-eds, and then we, of course, are going to go over a whole lot at the very end with the web only. Now, it is very easy to navigate. Just go by thumbnail. Tonight's thumbnail is Black Swan event coming. And then, of course, a Black Swan event. Once you click on that, you will find a full bibliography before every single live show. We make sure to put the sources for every single piece of information and archive it, so then you can go to the search bar and actually search any event, including something like catastrophic contagion or something else. If you want to go back to when we covered it, you can easily go up to the top right and you can actually use that search tool. Also, you can sign up for alerts here. Just go to the very top. There are tabs: news, TV, friends, alerts, deals, contact, and play my video. Remember, you can also submit videos to us at that very last tab, marfooglenews.com/play my video. All right, let's get into it, and let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Thank you, everybody who is already early to the show. Thank you, everybody that's supporting over on DLive. Thank you. We have Kishara, Vicky K. Thank you for your nightly stop by. Thank you so much. Johnson, Kimbria, Chance Paladin. Thank you for modding. And again, thank you for, I think I forgot to mention you hosted the other night and I forgot to call it out. And thank you so much. I saw that and I appreciate it. All right. And then, so Dex, back to the 101st Airborne Division. These guys are badasses. And we, of course, covered when they first shipped them over. And there was a debate back then, and some people said, well, it's the 101st, but it's not the entire 101st because the entire 101st is a huge division. But now some of our Fugel family members and others are saying that there's actually quite a bit of them over there, and now they're even digging trenches. Doesn't that sound like they are preparing for something bigger than what they're just doing, training?
Well, it certainly sounds like they're now closer to the conflict zone, their location and where they've been deployed. They're getting closer. It also sounds like they're staging events such as the helicopter attacks and firing artillery. So those are physical acts that are happening that certainly can raise eyebrows from the enemy. And then just having their presence so close has got to be raising concerns. And it seems like that this isn't the sign of de-escalation. This is the sign of escalation.
And if something happened like what happened with Poland, where a rogue missile went over or whatever happened there, we don't actually know exactly what happened. But if something like that happened and ended up hitting the 101st Division, obviously you could see where that would start a much bigger escalation there. So very freaky stuff. My personal opinion on this is and who knows, maybe I'm being completely tricked. I'd love for you to convince me that World War III is not going to happen. I'd love for you to tell me on exactly why it's not. But after looking throughout history and watching history repeat itself right now, watching all of the same events happen, and then, of course, understanding that a war for the very people at the top, it is actually profitable for them. If you look at all of the different politicians involved, they are almost all on a different board of, we went over it the other night, out of like over 50 companies that used to make military supplies, those slowly got monopolized, or, they basically said that they were merging, and they merged down to just 5 companies. It was like Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Electric or something, not General Electric, something General Dynamics. And it was 5 companies, and all 5 of those companies basically do all of our military work. And if you look at the board and the committees, you will see a lot of the same faces, and you'll go, so wait, you're telling me that if Boeing or Northrop Grumman or all of these guys, which again, I believe we covered that basically all 5 of them are going to be splitting all of the contracts, that any of the elite, very top people that are on these boards, they're going to profit from a conflict. So just think about that. Just keep that in the back of your head. And then also think about the fact that we are not people they care about. And by we, I mean pretty much everybody that's not in their personal circle. They don't care about their daughters, boyfriends, family in Tennessee. They don't care about that. They care about their personal circle, and that's it. So as far as I think it's people have a conscience, think that everybody does, but I'm sure of it. There are people up at the very top that literally think of us as what they step in a yard on an accident, and that you hose them off with, you spray it off your shoe. So that's my thoughts on it. I do believe we are getting very, very close. And, again, I would love to be convinced otherwise, but look at all of the different signs. And I understand that it's mainstream media, but I also cover all of the mainstream media, not just the big headlines, but all of the stuff on the back page. And this is getting absolutely insane. So we'll touch on Russia, UKR, and everything else in just a little bit. We're going to go and actually sidetrack for a minute and get some of the normal news out. Bomb cyclone to unleash life-threatening flooding in California. Now, I'm experiencing this. If our show just goes dark right now, just understand we are dealing with 60-mile-per-hour winds here in Washington. So I don't know what is happening in California other than what Ilea, one of our mods, did an exclusive report from her house, and it was pretty insane. You can see the actual rain going sideways. Normally when you think of sideways rain, you think like this, right? In the video, as she's saying it, the rain is literally going in a horizontal line. It's pretty insane. The rain is flying sideways. And then, of course, the trees, she got video of the trees and everything else waving around, and that's not even at the peak of it. So California, of course, we covered last night. They said that this is going to be a really bad one, and they specifically said people are going to lose their lives in this. They said that there's going to be flooding and that this is like unprecedented. It said unsettled weather will continue across California as a storm train delivers more rain to the Golden State, which could lead to flooding and mudslides. A major storm that will rapidly intensify and become a bomb cyclone off the coast of California will slam into the Golden State, unleashing the risk for life-threatening flooding, damaging winds, and power outages from Wednesday into Thursday. Now, I've already lost my power for just like a 30-second periods, like at least 3 times today. So again, like I said, if it does go dark, let everybody know in chat that we'll hope to get back on. But again, that's what's happening right now. It says the storm will arrive just days after the deadly flooding and heavy snow that developed in the state over the holiday weekend, threatening travelers and causing hundreds of thousands of power outages. So this is another reason why I believe a lot of the California Fugel family members that have already gotten generators or different ways to back up power, they're probably going to be sitting pretty compared to most people that don't. So this is why we recommend whether you go through us or you just get a generator from your local hardware store, whatever it may be, or a gas generator, that it's definitely a smart idea, especially now that we have all of these weird weather events that just keep happening. And then artificial intelligence is about to defend a human in court for the first time ever. Dex, do you want to go over this? This is pretty nuts.
This is artificial intelligence was used to defend a human in court for the first time in the UK. According to this report, the AI system called LawNet was developed by Cardiff University, and it's designed to assist lawyers with legal research and case preparations. It was used in a recent criminal case in the UK to help a defense team challenge evidence that's been presented. But the system is also able to identify inconsistencies and errors in the evidence, and the defense team is able to actually successfully argue that. So imagine you're sitting there as a lawyer and you've got this device probably on a phone or or on your computer, your laptop there. It's listening to the case. It's responding in real time in an earpiece in your ear, telling you when to object or telling you how to, argue this specific argument. That is what they're talking about here. This is the next wave. So they're talking about this becoming more common. And as you know, we've seen technology pretty much is widely used in the courtroom because it tends to bring about more evidence or clearer evidence, and typically it brings about much more irrefutable evidence, like in the case of say DNA or digital recordings of information that can prove stuff. So I think we're going to probably see this whole notion of AI in the courtroom. On one hand, we've talked about what the pitfalls could be from AI in the courtroom being a judge, right? But this is the side of it saying, hey, you can go into the courtroom and have this, lawyer in your pocket, so to speak, that's helping you get through your case or helping your lawyer get through the case.
So it's not necessarily going to replace yet, but it will be something that they use as a tool to help in court. One thing that I know most people that I've talked to about this don't really realize is how fast AI is interjecting itself in almost every kind of career and every kind of job and anything with an office. They are looking at ways of basically injecting artificial intelligence into almost everything. So this is pretty freaky. What do you think about it? Would you have this tool at your disposal in a court case? If it helped, right? All of these things are to make things more convenient or to better do a job. I guess if you were on trial for something and you're possibly looking at jail time, then yeah, I bet you'd probably want something like this, right? At least to help. And then Iran summons French envoy over insulting cartoons. I wouldn't put him past it. I have actually seen some of the comments and some of the videos that were done probably 4 or 5 years ago after a cartoon was done. And I want to say it's like one of those cartoons you see in every New York Times. It very, flamboyant, huge heads on these cartoons that look like kind of like Mad TV type thing or Mad Magazine cartoons about one of the Iranian rulers. And I remember back then they made a big fuss about it, and he made an angry video where he was spitting and pissed off about it. The thing is, these countries really do go absolutely nuts when they are insulted. So it said that Iran summoned France's envoy to Tehran on Wednesday to protest against insulting cartoons published by the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, depicting the, and I believe we've covered Hebdo before, depicting the Islamic Republic's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And it says the French Weekly had published dozens of cartoons about Khamenei, which it said that was part of a competition it launched last month to support anti-government protests in Iran sparked by the death of a young woman in September while the custody of morale police. It says the Islamic Republic of Iran does not accept insulting its Islamic religious and national sanctities and values in any way. Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani told the French envoy on Wednesday. It says the French Foreign Ministry did not immediately respond, and it said that facing their worst legitimacy crisis since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran's religious leaders have accused its foreign foes of orchestrating the anti-gov mass protests to destabilize the country. So one thing is, if that is at all true, because we know that there are three-letter agencies that, insert themselves in different countries, help regime change and different protests. And throughout history, they have been instrumental in going in and basically causing a stir. I mean, we actually know that they did. Three-letter agencies actually helped in on the 6th. They know that there were people there saying, yeah, smash that window. So you got a lot of crazy things going on all around the world. This is a very, very big hot point. Obviously, we have talked about all of the nuclear kind of possibilities with Iran. And then with this, some cartoon could start WW3 in some's opinion. I don't think it will go that far. But again, it just seems like they're on the edge and they aren't coming off of it. It says, we won't allow the French government to go too far. They've definitely chosen the wrong path. Imagine that if in history we went to World War III and it all started from a cartoon. Dex, do you want to go comment on this one and then talk about the Islamic State claims Afghanistan airport checkpoint had a boom boom event?
Yeah, I think the three-letter agency is the ticket here on the iCountry, because I think that this continuation of revolt is something that's being fueled. It's obviously it appears organic, and that's the way they would normally make them look. So it won't surprise me if our three-letter agency or the equivalent of that is involved in this. So this news coming out of AF about the IS state group claiming responsibility for a boom boom at a checkpoint at the military airport in the capital, Kabul. So this is important in the sense that we're watching what's happening in ME. There's a lot of, it seems like this week, there's been a lot of heating up going on. Everything from hitting strikes in Damascus and in Syria. And then we've got, now we've got this happening in AF. And this is also, we just recently talked about how Xi's people were fleeing and telling people to get out of the country because they were having trouble. So, this group that's claiming it, I think they were the ones that claimed our participation in the assault on the hotel in mid-December in there. So we're seeing things heating up. We need to pay attention to what's going on in ME. It is we've always said that if this, turns into a global conflict, that we're going to see Europe, potentially Asia / Taiwan specifically, maybe NK, but Taiwan, and then the ME. That would be three different fronts of action that the U.S. military would probably have to be involved in, and that would be a stretch to think we could handle three. That would be the worst case scenario. It seems like we like to think that we're prepared. We've got a lot of Navy across the globe, but at the same time, to think that we could do that in three different places at once and be successful would probably be a very hard stretch, I think.
And even if you do reach success, you reach it at a sacrifice of many, many people perishing. American perishing. So, by the way, I did not get to them last night, but I wanted to say thank you so much. Willing Witness, thank you so much for commenting and also doing a super chat. It says, please support the Marfoogle News family. Well, thank you so much. Clayton, I also missed you last night. Lady Green Eyes, I think you did it at the very end. Says, I've been with you for many years, and because you, I started prepping little at a time, do the funds, and Lord can refill food if it is his will. My health is not good, but faith to get better. Blessing to my family, mods, and you, Adam. Well, thank you, Lady Green Eyes, and I appreciate you, and we love you here, so thank you so much for stopping in and continuing to stick around. And then Angela Bloom, I also missed you, so I apologize about that. Would love to see you, Willing Witness, Leak Project, Oppenheimer Ranch Project, and Jacob do another group video. Everyone agree? Question mark. Probably. I know we've already done one, so yeah, I would love to do it again. I have been in the hospital for a month. Thanks to you and Dex for making the time go a little faster and the info keeping me informed. Richard Ball, I am so sorry you are in the hospital, and I appreciate you, and I'm very thankful that you are spending your time in there watching us, but I hope you get out of there as soon as you can. So Richard Ball, I hope that you are healed, and I'm praying for you, and I really hope you get out of there, especially since it's a new year, and I hope you didn't have to spend all of the holidays in there. It says for a month. Yeah, so it sounds like you spent Christmas in there. And then SM, thank you tonight. I appreciate that. K. Parker Fraser said, love this channel. Thank you. Thank you, Kay, and thank you for sticking around. Ariel's Perspective says, Mike and I, 14 months and counting. I love you. Hey, I'm glad that you guys are doing well, and thank you so much for stopping by, Ariel. And I hope you and Mike are doing really well. Which just reminds me, I believe we are responsible. I don't know how many... Now, I don't know if you and Mike met here. For some reason, I think that you guys did. But there were a ton of Marfoogle family members that ended up finding each other here. So that's pretty awesome. I can name a few, but again, I don't know the current situation of their relationship, but it's kind of been a matchmaking thing here. So find like-minded individuals. It just happens. And then before we talk about overtaking Silicon Valley, Indo-Pacific is emerging as biggest market for artificial intelligence. I do want to remind you real quick, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. If you want to protect your vehicles, if you want to protect your generators, in fact, EMP Shield is the only device. In fact, the Flex 1500 is the only device you can actually get an EMP Shield for. EMP Shield grounds the signal of an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP, or a CME, a Carrington level event, in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your car, your trucks, your ATVs, your four-wheelers, your motorcycles, your home, and even your ham radio. They make a device for pretty much everything you can think of that you would want to have running after an EMP or multiple EMPs. So go to over marfooglenews.com/EMP. When you go and support this company, not only are you supporting a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made product, you are also supporting our channel and getting a huge discount. You get $50 off per device, and that's definitely a big help when you're trying to outfit all of your cars, especially if you've got a whole family of cars you want to protect. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. The car version is definitely the most popular. People, of course, think about if they were 10, 20 miles away at work when an EMP struck, how would they get home? If you have an EMP shield, at least your car will run. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. That one takes about 10 to 15 minutes at most to put in, and you don't have to have any prior training or anything. It's the easiest thing to put in ever. So marfooglenews.com/EMP. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about Silicon Valley and the Indo-Pacific. More artificial intelligence.
Well, with the rise of AI in the military applications, we're actually seeing the Indo-Pacific pretty much overtake Silicon Valley as the leading purveyor of artificial intelligence. So they're providing, the Indo-Pacific region is seeing AI being used both security and an economic tool. And obviously, we're competing with Xi over this. This is why we've been trying to prevent chips from going there. It's why we've been doing a lot of different types of sanctions around the tech that they're allowed to have, so that we could prevent their AI from becoming more advanced. But specifically due to the use of AI in the military sector, that's why there's such a huge investment in their part. Obviously, they're growing their military and they spend a ton of money on it. That area of the world is actually becoming the latest hotbed for AI technology. So one of the other things in one of these reports, they talk a lot about advancing radar and radar technology and UAVs. And with advanced capabilities that can increase the development of laser guided missiles with improved accuracy. All of these things are exactly the type of stuff that they want AI for, which is why they invest so heavily in it. So it's definitely it's not an eye opener, but it sort of supports what we've talked all about, that we're at risk of losing any technological edge or advantage we've had around the globe against any other country, specifically losing this to Xi and other Asian countries that are investing heavily in AI and probably doing it at a pace bigger than we are.
And our own Pentagon, the chief software officer, a position that was made specifically for him, for the Pentagon, he ended up leaving. And as he left, he basically went out yelling, said that that China was ahead of us in AI and autonomous drone technology and AI-driven drone technology. And he said that this is a field that once you are behind in, it's almost impossible to catch up. And he kind of went out saying, like, I don't want the blood on my hands. So it was kind of an eye-opener. And then after that, multiple officials said he was right, that this is not good, that China has surpassed us in AI and possibly in supercomputing. That's still a debate, but it's very freaky as far as how much it's going to be used. The next conflict is going to be bonkers. And then China-Taiwan, concern at repair of Taiwanese military device in China. It said there are calls for greater safeguards in Taiwan after at least one device used in its military for its missiles was sent to repair in China. It says an optical instrument used for launch measurements for Taiwan's Haising Fang 3 anti-ship missiles were shipped to its manufacturer in Europe. It says then it was sent back to Taiwan from Shandong province in eastern China. Taiwanese media reported. It said that last year Beijing intensified military activity around the island. It said that China sees Taiwan as part of its territory, obviously, and vowed that it was going to unify it by force if necessary. Self-ruled Taiwan sees itself as distinct from the mainland. President Tsai Ing-wen has announced new plans to bolster Taiwan's defense in the event of an attack from Beijing. It says including extending mandatory military service from 4 months to 1 year. It says that in a statement, Taiwanese missile developer, the National Chung-Shan Institute of Science and Technology, said that the device had shipped to Switzerland by the company that had originally supplied it to the Taiwanese military. From there, it was diverted for repair at the manufacturer's Asia Maintenance Center in the Chinese city of Guangdao. So they're thinking, oh, yeah, we got it from Europe, right? Well, Europe's like, oh, well, if we're going to fix it, we got to send it back to China. The thing is these things are everything. Everybody was shipping everything to China to be done in almost every case. What's crazy is that we found out our own U.S. military was shipping things off to China to be made, manufactured, and repaired. It's absolutely insane that people still think that China still cannot manufacture or make good things that are up to our quality when all of the countries of the world have been going for this bottom line, let's go do it cheaper over there with cheaper labor, when at the same time they are shipping it over there and they are getting all of the designs, they're getting the equipment, they're doing everything that we do, and they're doing it cheaper, right? It says the Institute said it had removed memory cards before sending it to Europe, I guess luckily, and also ran information security checks on the device after its return and had no concerns over possible information leaks. Again, something could have been installed in that. We've had multiple things go on. If you've ever seen the movie Dragon Day, which if you haven't, like I said, it's a bad acting movie. I think the only good part is it's definitely entertaining, but the plot of it is that essentially that Xi takes over the U.S. and does it by EMP and by taking over the chips in all of these phones that parts of them were manufactured over in China, right? It's a freaky thing as far as the movie. Just go watch it. But it's like we have had all of these things pop up in just the last 2 years. We've had all these weird events. And a lot of people, just like last night, someone commented that it looks like China's doing what Japan did to us right before WW2, right before Pearl Harbor. I mean, they've even, burnt documents at their U.S. embassies. They have now set up these stations all over the NATO countries with, essentially what people think are spies. So what is to stop them from obviously doing stuff to different equipment that ends up getting shipped back there to fix? Dex, what do you think about how they send it to Europe, but then end up getting it back from China? That's that's bad.
It's just crazy. It's bad. It's just crazy to think that their adversary is the last touch point on the product that they're using in their military equipment to defend themselves against their adversary. That makes absolutely no sense. And I'm sure they're shocked to see that happen too. At least it wasn't as crazy. You read the headline and you think, what? They sent it to their adversary? No, they sent it to Europe. But apparently it just worked its way back around through the supply chain of who the manufacturer components were. And but yeah, not a pretty thing. I could only imagine, like, if our some device in a missile that we have comes from Vlad's country, and we got to get them to fix it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, can you fix this missile so we can take your life? Yeah, that will work out well. Oh, there won't be any mistakes or any malfunctions or anything when it comes back. It says a war between China and Taiwan is the economic black swan investors should be most worried about, ex-Fed Chair Alan Greenspan warns. Now, it says that investors should start worrying more about China because it could invade Taiwan and trigger a global economic crisis that fuels major market sell-offs, Alan Greenspan has warned. It says the former Federal Reserve Chair said Tuesday that a war between the two Asian countries poses the most significant black swan risk to financial markets right now. Black swans are unpredictable events, such as the 2008 financial crisis or Russia's invasion of UKR last year. Okay, by the way, I disagree on that. 2008 was a giant bubble that a lot of people ended up betting against it. Of course, betting that it would collapse. And then Vlad's invasion of UKR, that was not unexpected. They did a drill a year before, and they also said they were going to do it. It was pretty clear. I mean, on our channel a year before any MSM was covering it, we were telling you guys it was happening. And we're not special. All of you guys saw the same thing we did. But anyways, they're unpredictable events, and it says that end up having unexpected and severe consequences for stocks and other financial asset classes. It says the black swan event, I think, markets and really the world at large ought to be most worried about is some kind of conflict erupting between Xi and Taiwan. It says Greenspan, who is an economic advisor to Advisors Capital Management, said in a year-end question and answer investment commentary published to the firm's website. It says Xi Jinping has methodically consolidated power and made himself essentially president for life. He added, he has been fairly candid in his intention to eventually bring Taiwan back into the fold, and he may begin to feel his window is closing. So there's also deadlines and there's dates that things are going to be finished that's going to make it much harder for Xi to take over Taiwan. And there's also Japan coming into the fold as well, now becoming an offensive force and all of a sudden being in the top 5 for military spending, going from basically a defensive-only country that almost had no budget for it, which Japan has a huge stake. Taiwan is a huge, huge deal for Japan, being is that if they think that they believe if they take Taiwan strategically, it's a horrible thing for China to be straight up in Taiwan. It's not good. So there's a lot of things changing, and there's a lot of projects that are finishing that will make it harder for Xi. Dex, as far as Greenspan and a bunch of others have said things like this, But should we believe these financial advisors, or should we take it as it's like hints towards the very top, or what do you think?
This is a foreshadow. This is not telling us anything that we didn't know, right? We knew that there's a conflict on the rise there. We know that this is going to happen sooner rather than later. These are the things that we've been analyzing. We know that it's going to be very difficult on the economics of the globe if TSMC is gone or taken over by Xi from the invasions. This is a big deal. It's like at least 5 years of difficulty around, which is why everyone is building chip plants all over the place right now, trying to prevent this. So this isn't anything we know. I think what we're seeing here is someone of his caliber making a statement publicly, trying to set the framework for the fact that there will be this massive financial impact. And to the extent that we've talked about, and many people here talk about the potential of doing the great, you know what I'm talking about, setting of the RE, that this could be one of the many things they're doing and using to do that. You know, not only just starving out economies, not only, you know, making resources like heating and electricity and oil and all that expensive, not only hyperinflation, but also these specific conflicts that are going to just completely crush world markets and stock markets and value that everyone may or may not still have in their 401ks or in these large money management accounts where they manage these, you know, tons and tons of money. I think the writing's been on the wall. We've seen these investors move and shift tons of their assets into real things like real estate, specifically, hence the giant bubble we had with all of our real estate here in the US. That's what I think this is. I think it's less about, you know, stating the obvious. We know the obvious. I think it's more about stating the economics or foreshadowing this economic event that's about to happen. And there's going to be many reasons, and this will be one of them.
Well, what's funny is it takes somebody like Greenspan to say this for regular people to pay attention. Everybody in the Fugel family member, you know, all of our people have been saying this for a long time. And what's crazy is that we're called crazy, tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorists, all this stuff. You know, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we're saying this stuff and we're seeing the dots connect and the different budgets that are put out and the different ways that they are starting to turn towards different countries. But then when it gets closer and closer and closer, people start realizing, oh, the internet was right. The random guy on the internet actually had it down, you know, had it right the whole time. And it takes Greenspan, it takes Gates, or it takes these people to like say these big, huge hints, and it's like, this is obvious stuff. They're now saying it, and it's confirming what we've always known. And whether it be their, plan to do this, it's kind of like we just saw the playbook way before, and they're not warning people. They're not saying this to actually warn people. They're telling you what is about to happen. They're putting this out there to get. I think it's almost for their cronies. Like, hey, do this, do that, and do this. It's like there's public signs of what's going to happen, but it happens right before it happens. We see the little things way before, and everybody just kind of poo-poos it and says, whatever. But then when it comes down to the point, the people that will say that, 2 years ago when we were saying this, those same people will be going to the office tomorrow and go, did you hear what Adam Greenspan? Oh, and they'll quote him and say, oh yeah, this is coming right now. This is coming soon. But when we say it, they say we're nuts, right? All your family members that you've told this stuff 2 years ago, it doesn't matter. It's not like later on, they're going to end up saying, you can't say, I told you so, right? Because the events we're talking about are so bad that it's like, it's going to change our lives. And most of you are ready for this. Most people are not. The majority of people are just going to be completely sideswiped by this and not see it coming. I think it's pretty simple to see. Like Dex said, the writing has been on the wall. Now it's on your face. Just look in a mirror. Zelenskyy warns Russia will throw everything they have in an attempt to turn the conflict around. Well, that's common sense too. We also know that they're about to get the Patriot system. It's pretty simple to see that if they are about to get the Patriot system in the next couple months because they're training for it now, it's already been approved. It's been a huge deal even sending the Patriot system in the first place because the Patriot system can shoot all their stuff down, that they are going to give them everything they got, attack it like crazy before they get the Patriot system. So it is, I don't think there's any doubt that it's about to escalate. But there's a prediction here in just a second that you'll be like, oh, something's about to go down here. It says that Zelenskyy, which again, we take everything I almost consider everything to be on a script. If you don't know what he did as his prior job, then I'd highly recommend you know that. Again, played the president on TV in a very, very well-renowned TV show there. Literally, he played the part before he played the part. Warned in an overnight address Tuesday that Vlad's country is planning to ramp up its aggression and will throw everything they have. Well, again, they haven't thrown in everything they have. They're not running out of missiles. They threw in all of their 100-year rifles, their 60-year-old tanks, their 50-year-old men. All of the trained elite soldiers and all of that, those aren't the guys that were thrown in the first 3 months. Those were the guys that were sitting back watching the conscripts go in and do whatever damage they could without affecting any of their actual stockpiles. That's my opinion. What's yours? It says little progress has been made by either side since the harsher winter months set in, though Russia saw major losses in Kharkiv and Kherson between September and November last year. Now, people see the Kherson retreat and all this and say, oh, they're totally losing, and they listen to the media narrative. In actual conflicts and in every world conflict, you have seen major powers, including those that won, end up taking areas and then retreating backwards, or taking areas and then losing them, taking them, losing them. This happened multiple times during WW2, happened during WW1, and that includes the winning side ended up taking places, then losing places, then taking places. So that does happen in a major conflict. So I wouldn't say that that's like the ticket to them losing. And then, Dex, do you want to comment on this and then cover the Putin deploys frigate to the Atlantic Ocean armed with hypersonic Zircon cruise missiles?
Well, I think with Zelenskyy, there's two important parts here. One is the quotes, and I think you've already covered them. They're really important. The fact that this is the final defeat. He's making this out as if this event, this escalation happens, and they're able to stop it, it will be the final defeat against Vlad. Okay, that's a big deal, a big statement on his part, or a potential foreshadowing if this is all one giant orchestration. But the other thing this does is this also brings another piece of validity to what we have been reporting for the last couple weeks now about this potential huge escalation that's about to happen, potentially starting tomorrow, the 5th. And in that time period is what a lot of folks have been speculating, and specifically about 150,000 or more troops from Vlad's side, and a huge escalation into potentially Kiev and other locations in UKR. We've seen the buildup and the movement of troops specifically through Belarus and in the northern areas, and then we've seen the buildup and the I guess defense lines, so to speak, being fortified around Crimea. So it does, like, if you think about this from a connecting the dots perspective, you're definitely connecting the dots here that there is an escalation about to happen. So maybe it won't, maybe it'll just be a trickle event. Maybe it will, it'll just be a continuation of what we've seen for the last 7 months, but it does sound like it might actually be something much bigger. And I think it's not so much that specific event, but it's the outcome of the event that's important, and whether or not that has an effect on UKR or a negative effect against Vlad. And does he do anything else to escalate beyond that, using, higher technology, whether it be tactical or other types of things, to ensure success, which is what he said they were going to do. So moving on. Yes, the other story going on specifically with Vlad is he's announced the deployment of a frigate that is armed with a hypersonic Zircon cruise missile, and it is going to the Atlantic Ocean. So this ship's name is the Admiral Fleet of the Soviet Union Gorkov. It's also going to go through the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean, but this is the one that has the Zircon missiles on it. As they call it, there is no analogs. There's nothing like it. It's a hypersonic sea-based system, and they don't. I think they go a distance of about 625 miles. So it's not. I mean, that is far in some regards, but it's not that far. But it's also a very fast-moving, and they've successfully tested these as well as some of their other hypersonics that they've now got into position. So seeing this going out into the Atlantic, of course, I can imagine we're going to be tracking it. We, as in the U.S. military, will probably know every position that ship is in at every moment of the day, and paying very close attention to it. So,
and imagine if it did end up firing something off in the Atlantic Sea, things could be triggered pretty quickly. That's why, of course, it's good for our audience to know this beforehand, just so you're not sideswiped by anything new on TV, or you wake up one morning and all of a sudden things have gone down. I sure hope that nothing does go down, but again, this is why we do our channel. That's something I never got is if people are interested in this stuff, they search it out. We're not. I would get some of the kind of critiques of stuff like ours if our stuff was trending and on front page and being suggested and pushed down people's throats. But unfortunately for us, that doesn't happen because we are news related. So we were put at the very bottom of the barrel. Algorithmically, they put CNN, MSN, MSM up at the very top. And they have to. Like we talked about last night, mainstream news is basically dead. And the only reason it's kept alive is because it doesn't matter what you search, it's always going to go to CNN first. It's always going to go to those top 4 medias. And then it makes you think you have the freedom of choice when they put in the 10 others owned by those bigger companies. But as far as like what's going on right now, people are searching us out. They're actually coming to us, and they continue to come to us. What I don't get about the negativity of like going to someone like us, we're here for the people that want to be here and want to know what's going to happen before it happens, and want to see all of this play out, and want to help connect the dots with us. It takes you guys all chatting with each other, and 4,200 in the chat that are all talking about this. If we mention an MSM article and then 4,000 people weigh in on this, you quickly get to know what 4,000 other people are thinking about it, or at least a few hundred that are active in the chat. That's better than, that's a live poll. If we bring up a subject and 400 people are in there basically saying, oh, I think this is BS, or I think this is that, you instantly know. You don't need to wait for a study to be done on that subject to know what other people are thinking about it. And that's why I think that they want to take things like us out, especially if anybody that's anti-Xi's country is being attacked like no other right now. So keep that in mind. Look at any channel that is going and not being favorable to that country. You will see any channel, go to all of them, and you're like, what is going on here? They have 1 million on their payroll, 1 million people with cell phones out there. And then before we talk about hackers, find out that the Lukashenko could deceive Vlad with CV. Just a quick reminder, this has come in clutch for me. I don't have the X2 yet. This is the new solar generator from Energy. It's the Kodiak X2. It's all built in. I highly recommend this. Anybody that already has their Flex 1500 or their LT knows these things are built like tanks. As far as the Flex 1500, this is the system I have. It's modular. It works just like Legos, where the batteries are, again, heavy made, beautiful lithium batteries that actually stack, and the input and the output is on the top and the bottom. So they can basically be sandwiched. You can put the head unit on up to 5 batteries and then end up carrying that. They all lock together, and you can carry it out and take it with you. Most people are going to get 1 or 2 batteries, and that is literally enough to get by. You could literally get by with 1 because you always have new energy coming in as long as you have solar panels. So this is really cool. You can put out 4 panels with the standard system, and they also make mods like the supercharger mod, which is about half the size of one of these batteries that sandwiches in between, and that can actually triple the input from 4 to 12 panels. It is an extremely cool system. It is very modular, which you can basically change it around, and they make a lot of cool accessories that are super low wattage. So I have a string of 3 lights that could literally light a field, and it takes less than 30 watts for all 3 lights. It's really insane, the cool stuff they make. They make low watt almost everything, so you could virtually run 50 things barely using the wattage of like 5. So make sure to go check it out, marfooglenews.com/energy. They're absolutely stealth. They are silent. You cannot hear them. They are also no nasty fumes, no carbon monoxide. There's no running motors, and you don't have to buy $5 a gallon gas. You put out some solar panels or you charge it from your wall while you do have power. But this is coming clutch. We have lost our power so many times, and we basically are able to just go back to normal. So again, having power when there is no power is a huge, huge thing. It's an investment. I would highly recommend going for a good one that's not going to break down on you, and that's also not going to be overpriced for underfeatured. This one has it all. Go to marfooglenews.com/energy. The X2 and the Flex and the LT. I believe the LT may not have a waiting list, but lithium is in high demand and in low supply. So if you want to get one, get your name on one now. marfooglenews.com/energy and check it out. That helps us out. You get a huge discount. And again, you're helping independent media. Dex, do you want to talk about what the hackers find out?
There's multiple angles on the story. It's kind of interesting. So first, hackers in Belarus have actually hacked the medical center for the Administration of Affairs for Alexander Lukashenko. So that's a big deal, right? Just the fact that they've been hacked. But then what they found and what they pulled out of it is rather interesting. So you may recall we talked about Vlad landing recently in Belarus to meet with him. He trotted down the steps and jumped over the last step of the plane and went out and ate bread and gave him a hug and all that. Big scene. He looked like he was in great health. For that event to happen, there was supposed to be a test done for Alexander, as well as his son, who was also meeting with him. And what these hackers have found is they went and they looked at the documents, and the documents were then reportedly recognized as genuine by other people based on the barcodes that were on them. But then as they analyzed the data that's on it, they found that there were multiple passport numbers for both Alexander and Nikolai. They found a lack of sufficient time between the dates of the testing and the issuing of the certificates. And they're basically suggesting that the certificates are probably fake and that he didn't actually undergo testing like he was supposed to. And he did that and doing that when Vlad was coming to meet with them. So it's not earth shattering, but at the same time, it also makes you wonder what else do the elite get away with when they want to get away with things that they don't want to do.
Well, and also, why don't they want to take it? Why it's such a simple thing, right? Why won't they take it? It's a question. Or why did they not do it? Why did they go through the trouble to fake it if it's so easy to do? It just makes you wonder. And also, what does that say? That's just weird. Or maybe they know something we don't. I don't know. But again, it's very odd. And then Iranian made drones cost as little as $20,000 to make, but up to $500,000 to take down. A growing concern in UKR report says. So it makes sense that if you keep sending over these drones at $20,000 a piece, and it takes the enemy $500,000 to take them down, that's going to wear down the financial aspects of the enemy. No, when you say this, you're basically saying, oh, well, that means the U.S. and taxpayers, because it's going to cost us $500,000 to take those things down, and it's only going to cost them $20,000 to put them up. It said, well, the Shahed 136 drones being deployed by Russia cost as little as $20,000 to make. Shooting one out of the sky can cost between $140,000 and $500,000. It says this has created a growing problem for UKR and its allies. Yeah, being you and me as the taxpayers that end up having to foot the bill. It says President Vlad's forces have increasingly relied on the Shahed 136, referred to as a drone, because it self-destructs on contact with its target. It says as UKR rang in the new year, it faced a barrage of 84 of these drones, with its Air Force claiming to have taken down every last one. Wait a second. So 84 times 500,000 or even 100,000, that would be 84. Would that be $840,000 to take down those 84? And that's just at 100,000 apiece, right? That's a lot of money just being shot out of the sky, literally. UKR has used a wide range of methods and efforts to stop the drones, including bringing old Soviet-era anti-aircraft bang-bangs into play. Small arms fire and missiles fired from warplanes have also been deployed. However, the Shahed 136 flies low and slow, literally trying to fly under the radar. You would think they would just put up a giant net. Watch you'll see like Now This or something go, internet sleuth ended up finding out the solution for all of UKR. They heard it on a podcast and now they're putting up a giant net. And then you'll see on Now This them, putting up posts like a driving range or something. A local golfing company donated its nets. If they're flying low and slow, put up a net. Just saying. Just an idea. But who knows? Nets are very expensive now. I mean, the cost of rope and string, and it's just astronomical. It's, $500,000. Dex, as far as Vlad blames strike on soldiers' mobile phone use. So they're saying, hey, get off of Facebook or whatever you're on. Stop giving our location.
Yeah, they're definitely not happy with that loss. And again, it's interesting. This is the one of very few that they've really acknowledged. Of course, according to our numbers from our Pentagon and everyone else, they've lost hundreds of thousands. So you think they would have had this story numerous times over. But this is the story. It keeps going. So now the blame is being said that while the troops have been told, and it's against their rules to be using their cell phones, the fact that they gave away their position. At least that's the blame that Vlad's country is creating for the reason why they lost upwards of 63, or as UKR says, up to 100 or 300 people at that one event. So this is we've reported about how cell phones have certainly been used by military people, and information has leaked out. Like I remember, I think it was Fitbit. You could literally see the runners that would be running on the ship or exercising on the ship, and these little lines out in the middle of the ocean that were basically giving away a ship's position because they're out there using a Fitbit, things like that. So there is a lot of validity to the notion of, hey, you need to turn off the digital equipment that's not issued by the military, that's not secure, because you can give away your location, as we've seen it in our own reporting in the past. So very well could be a valid excuse, but that's the excuse they're making.
Yep, and of course they would put something like that out as well too. It takes blame off of one thing and puts it onto another. Looks like Jason Beck is here. Hey, it's nice to see you. I hope you're healthy, and I hope you're better. I know you were having a lot of health issues. I was praying for you. And Baked Alaska says, I have, what was that, 300 foot? You said something about 300 foot net around my property to stop the drones from buzzing my property. I'd love to see video of that. That's pretty, you would think, right? If China can construct the Great Wall of China, you'd think they would be able to put a see-through net up that would stop the drones, right? Russia blames strike on soldiers' mobile phone use. I got that. And then a war reporter decorated by Putin says the Kremlin story that cell phones are why a lot of the Vlad's troops died in UKR strikes is not very convincing. Obviously, weighed in, and like everybody else that had common sense, don't know about that. It says after a UKR strike took the scores of Russian soldiers in Donetsk, Moscow pinned the blame on cell phone use by its forces, but a war reporter honored by Vlad pushed back on this claim, saying that the Kremlin story is not very convincing. I rarely say this, but this is the case when it would probably be better to remain silent, at least until the end of the investigation. As such, it looks like an outright attempt to smear the blame. who was recently awarded the Order of Courage by the Russian leader after he was injured by an anti-personnel mine in UKR, said Telegram. It says over the weekend, UKR forces used a U.S.-provided high-mobility HIMARS to deliver a devastating strike on Russian positions in the occupied UKR city of Marfoogle, which again was given to them by NATO allies, which is obviously pissing them off. And then Chief of Defense Intelligence makes prediction about Putin's death very quickly and soon. Before we cover that, a quick reminder, if you want food that will last 25 years and is affordable, you can get a 3-month supply, again, for $200 off right now. It's the largest discount and the lowest price it's been in a long time. Go over to marfooglenews.com/prep. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/prep. You can also get all sorts of other things there, so make sure to go check it out. They, again, have 1 month supplies for $70 off, and then they also have single MREs. You can get Mylar-packed bags and food, all sorts of stuff, a week supply. There's all sorts of different kits for whatever you may need. So you can do a little at a time, or you can save a lot of money and go bulk. It's marfooglenews.com/prep. It helps support us. It gives you a discount, and you're supporting our independent channel at the same time. As far as the predictions go, this is nobody really knows for sure. But when you hear these kind of things, you wonder, is something planned? Is somebody going to try to take out Vlad and then blame it on all of the health issues that they claim don't even exist? It says Kurilo, and by the way, Putin is driving at night. He is like sending extra, even when he flies somewhere, he has like 3 decoys. It looks like, if it is at all true what he is doing, it looks like he's getting kind of paranoid. Also, a lot of the cronies around him are dropping out of windows. Maybe he doesn't trust people. We don't know. That's what media says, so I would say question everything. But it says Kirilo Budanov, Chief of Defense Intelligence for UKR, so it is coming from UKR, has said that Vlad, President of Russia, has cancer and will perish very soon. But after UKR's win in the conflict with Russia, and of course, they're going to win first. Dex, what do you think of his prediction? And they say he's qualified for predictions like this, but that's based on information that's possibly coming from Telegram groups that are, Vlad's SVR, former SVR, basically CIA of Russia's country. Appear weak when you are strong when you're weak.
Apparently, in this scenario, he's saying it's coming from their own intelligence, and he's saying very sternly, and the quote is, "We just know, like we know it's true. We know he's sick. We know he's going to pass." And I think that, we've seen the general SVR, which is also, like you said, been putting out information, or Ganda, if you want to call it that, under the name of being the 3-letter agency, or former employees of the 3-letter agency out of Vlad's country. So, this is just yet another source. It's another source that says they have their own intel. It seems to be like this reoccurring theme. Like he is on, death's doorstep, so to speak, So I guess, at his age, everybody gets sick from time to time. I don't know. We don't really know what he has. Nothing's ever been publicized from them. He has not admitted to any of it. But we've certainly seen images that kind of give us, reasonable questioning of it at the same time. But that's about it. So I think the important thing is they're putting a timeline on this. They're trying to use this story to say it's got to end now. We've got to win right away. We're going to do this in 2023, and that he's going to perish right after. And that's their goals. So, there is a whole Ganda rah-rah around this, but at the same time, they're saying it's coming from their own intelligence and that they know.
And it's creepy that they say that Budanov believes in that Vlad will perish after the victory of UKR. And it says in the war with Vlad, it says this war must end before his death. We will win it in 2023. Now, that could just be positive thinking. Could be law of attraction. He's also got a board up behind him that has a beautiful house and a nice car that he'll someday have, right? Or it could be something that we don't know what's going on here. But here's what really creeps me out. He says we should not be afraid of its transformation, as it will only benefit the whole world. Is this whole thing going to be something where this is going to play in? I mean, most people think it's going to play into some bigger world change that's going to screw civilians all over the world. Is that the case? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody over on DLive. The end is near. Thank you for the diamond. Michelle K says, Rollins can't even elect a speaker. And then Scooby Doo Right, thank you, says peace. Zippy Moons, thank you for popping in. Hal 9000. Beer Juice, thank you for gifting out a subscription to Hal 9000. And Cognitable, Kishara, thank you. And of course, thank you everybody over on YouTube. JRL Pale Horse, thank you for popping in. Says shout out to author Christine Kersey and her audience. By the way, is she here? Let's see here. Shane Reed, thank you, says greetings and happy new year. Stephen McMahon says ask Mr. Dosun Hai. He has knowledge of the currents and tides around Taiwan. Also, the balloon goes up March or April. Xi has a time element. Okay, I will. Stephen McMahon, thank you. And then Jason Beck, my dog Princess died. I am hurting. Rough time. Jason, I'm sorry. And you're talking to somebody who all of their animals are super close family, so I totally understand. I bet there's a lot of people out there that do as well. It's Stephen McMahon, as we proceed, as if it's already done. Now, how do we set up survival communities for the after the balloon goes up? Stephen McMahon, we did have that, and they took it down. Shout out to author Christine Kersey and her audiobooks of EMP Aftermath. Check it out on YouTube. J.R. Pellhorst, I will. That sounds actually really interesting. That was Christine Kersey and the books of EMP Aftermath. Navy Man 49, Adam and Dex for president. Yeah, I would never want that position. It doesn't matter how cool you are, how good you are, how honest you are. That position is just not, it doesn't matter. Even if you were a good person, you're going to be smeared like no other. Navy Man, thank you for your back-to-back supports. And then Errol, thank you. K, Parker Frazier, and SM, thank you. And then Zelenskyy signs controversial law expanding government power to regulate media. It says UKR President Vladimir signed into law a controversial statute that expanding the government's power to regulate media groups and journalists in the country. This to me sounds like a sign that something's about to go down, but it says Zelenskyy signed the legislation on Thursday over the objections of media unions and press freedom organizations that warned that it will have a chilling effect on free speech. Under the new law, the National Television and Radio Broadcasting Council, whose members are appointed by the President's administration, members of Parliament, will have a broader authority over UKR media organization and journalists. So whatever information is coming out of there might be very, very restricted. It says the regulatory agency can effectively shut down news sites that aren't registered. In a statement last month, the National Union of Journalists of UKR said that the bill posed a threat to press freedom in the country. Such powers are clearly excessive, the organization wrote. No one has yet managed to tame freedom of speech in UKR. It won't work this time either. It said that the administration has been accused of suppressing press freedom. He first ordered the drafting of a new law to boost media regulation in 2019, the year he entered office. Which, when he first entered, his only experience was playing one on TV. So I wonder if there was somebody, I don't know, near him, above him, behind him, handling him, whatever, that, suggested these changes. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And then, Dex, if you want to comment on that, and then, of course, cover the social disaster.
It's not like the writing wasn't on the wall with the first round when he, organized all of the media outlets and basically got rid of the ones that he didn't like. Now he's organizing an organization above them to control them. It's kind of akin to like the FCC here, except obviously have a lot more authority, like issuing licenses and taking them away, or telling people you can't be a broadcaster or you can't be a news outlet. And so that's kind of a big deal. I think, it goes back to what we say all the time about taking everything that's coming out of there with a grain of salt. It's almost like, getting news out of Xi's country from their news outlets. It goes right through the government. They've got their own system, and they monitor it, and they program it, and they prevent it, and they protect it. So, hey, this is a story specifically about the effects that children who are frequently using social media are facing, and they're saying that there's actual brain changes. So this is coming from a research study, and it says, here's one more reason to limit the amount of time your child spends in front of a screen. Social media could be reprogramming children's brains and making them hooked on likes. A new study out of the University of North Carolina reveals apps such as Instagram and Snapchat could be making teenagers almost constantly checking their phones to see if they have positive or negative reactions to their online posts, experts say. The more young people on social media, the more sensitive they become to these social feedback. So it's like they're programming their brain to constantly get this feedback. It's something we didn't have. I didn't have it as a kid when we were growing up. And I think most people listening right now didn't grow up with social media. Only our kids that seem to be growing up with it. So these types of cues, these types of things that are happening, like a tagging, reporting, giving star ratings, giving thumbs up and likes, they're all part of social networking. It's all part of how content gets distributed, or just in the case of this video, like we put this content together, we spread it out to a community, it gets liked and shared. Like those are normal activities, but the obsessiveness that they're trying to create in some of these apps, especially like the the attention changing that they're doing to the brain in some of these apps like TikTok, where they're really trying to keep people from only holding a 60-second time span in their attention. These are changing and reprogramming our kids, and whether that's for the good or for the worse, I think it's probably the latter, but time will tell. I think a lot could be said, about how just having things like technology, not even social, changes the way the brains work. I think you could, it's easy to go back and say, hey, let me look at a teenager in the 1800s and a teenager in the middle of the 1900s and a teenager in the 2000s before social media was prominent. And you could see some big changes in the way those kids thought and operated and how much of their brain power they used. I mean, having technology around like television just causes us to do more with our brain. Maybe good, maybe not. A lot of people don't think it's good. I get that. But at the same time, all of this tech has expanded our capabilities of using our brains, but then there's negative side effects. And in this particular one, they're talking about specifically around social and the construct of getting this constant reward or trying to be liked, or kind of reminds me of the selfie craze when everybody had to make their own selfies, which they still do. It's kind of a norm now, I guess. Don't get it, but I have plenty of young kids out there love selfies. All that stuff sort of changes the way they look for, acknowledgement and what they expect from, their interactions. And when that translates back to the real world and you put a phone down, you start interacting with other humans, how does that change the way you behave as a young child who's growing up? So very fascinating study, lots of information to unpack here. I don't think I think I'm actually preaching to the choir here. I think everybody here kind of understands what I'm saying and what this article is all about.
Well, so there's a lot. Okay, so I think most of you have seen this on YouTube. If you spend any time on YouTube, I'm like embarrassed for the people that comment and they'll say something funny on a video and they'll say, a funny comment. First of all, the comments alone under YouTube videos, everybody's trying to come up with the funniest comments. It's on TikTok and everything else. But you'll see they will come back and check their actual comment and they'll do an edit. Have you ever seen this where a YouTube comment said, edit? Oh my gosh, I can't believe this got 3,000 likes. Thank you so much. It's like they went back to, if I go and comment on a YouTube video, I'm not like putting it out there like it's something I did special and then going back like 3 months later and going, edit, oh my gosh, thank you so much for 3,000 likes. Like, you guys like me. I could find 5 or 6 videos right now that the top comment on like any Tom McDonald video or any like millions of views video, there's a top comment and they go back and they check it. And most likely, maybe the YouTube app says like, oh, somebody liked your thing. They go back and they go, oh, I got all these likes. People like me. This is how the brain is working. It's like, oh, I got to thank people for liking. Somebody liked your comment. Like, it's not a big deal. And a lot of people did because you were up in the first 5 comments or whatever. And so it got up there. I just don't see it. I'm like, why do you care if people liked your comment? Like, it's like everybody wants to be the creator. I see that people go, oh, I need more subs. I didn't get enough likes. I didn't get enough subs. They think of subs as a number, not as a person. And I think that's why I did okay on this, is because I never went into it caring about the numbers. And I don't think that if you are focused on, oh, this person got more subs than me, subs. That's why I don't call you guys subs. Okay, the word subs is insanely just like, it's kind of offensive to me. Everybody's like, I need more subs. And I know that there's good people that have said it too, but it's like they need more subs. I need more subs. Those are each a person. Each sub in theory is an actual person. And you might have some bots in there somewhere, but most of those are an actual human being. And you're minimalizing them down to a sub, right? People that have 100 subscribers, that's huge. You have 100 people. If you can think of, if you've ever spoken in front of 100 people, it's a lot of people. If you have 1,000 subscribers, one thing that a lot of the Foogle fam didn't really understand in the beginning, when we used to do our love mobs and send 1,000 people over, in one night, we would give 1,000 subscribers to somebody. Then they could do monetization. They could stream from their phone, and they got 1,000 people in one night. And the next night, somebody would call, and they only got 900. I would hear people go, "Oh, I only got 900, and they got 1,000." With 900, with 1,000 subscribers, that is giant. And they're thinking like, I need 1 million subscribers to be successful, or I need this. If you even have 20 really good subscribers that share your stuff out, I would rather have 10 subscribers that I'm not just popping up in their feed, but they're active subscribers that come back every night. Those people that are actually coming, sharing, trying to get their friends in here, those are the people that I appreciate the most. It doesn't matter if somebody has me pop up on their screen occasionally and they subscribed once because they liked one of my videos. Those people don't help the community. It's the people that are there every single night, that do likes, that shares, do all that. Like, you don't have to have 1 billion subscribers to do well at this. You just need to focus on the people, not focus on the numbers. But this is what our entire, culture is now. It's all about likes. It's all about this. It's all about that. Everybody wants to do this, but once they do it, they realize it is not easy. You don't just hop on camera and just do it. People see what we do or any of my peers do, and they go, oh, I could do that. I could do that easy. And then they start getting into actually doing it, and they're like, oh my gosh, you need this, and this, and this. And you get attacked on a daily basis, and people dox you and do all sorts of crazy stuff. It's not fun. People threaten your family. People send you death threats. It's not the life for everybody. Not everybody is cut out to do this. Even the people that are cut out to do this have rough days. So this is what teenagers and kids want to do when they grow up. And I have to say, they don't even have life training. They haven't been able to separate themselves from the phone to even figure out how to live life before trying to succeed at this digital life, which is going to be absolute hell if they do succeed at. Going viral is literally like life goals now. Like, oh, my goal is to go viral. I've been viral. It's actually scary. When you do have a video that goes viral, all of a sudden during a week, you'll have everybody coming up to you. I had people standing outside my car with cardboard signs as I'm doing a live video because they saw one little corner of a building that they recognized, and they ended up coming over. Luckily, it was a good guy. It could have been somebody who could have hated me and come up and tried to take me out or something. But they literally recognized one unique feature in the thing. I had other people that literally rewound the video. I was going over to a friend's house, and I did a car video, and they slowed it down. It was flipped, so they reversed the street signs and then counted houses until the one I parked in front of. And it wasn't even my house. And they found that on a map, and they ended up finding out this friend's address. And they said, hey, I'm a good guy, but if I was a bad guy, you can find your address. Again, luckily it was a good person that said, hey, if somebody could find your location. But you don't think about that. You just think about, hey, I'm doing a video, right? There's a lot of scary things out there, and what these kids don't understand is that this is not the dream job. There's a lot of negative things that nobody talks about, and nobody talks about for a reason, because it amplifies it. So I hope that people do create their own channels. I do hope that people become creators, but understand it's not easy, and it's a difficult road, and it is worth it if you can do it. But don't expect to go into it, not succeeding. Don't ever think you're going to succeed, and just keep trying and keep doing it. Thank you. I know there's a lot of creators in the chat right now, and you guys know, once anybody tries to start doing it, they go, whoa, I didn't realize you had to do this, didn't have to do that. But this is what kids are doing, and I know there's no studies. This is one of the first studies. These cell phones are going to mess people up. It's going to mess kids up. And just to add in one more thing, I talked about it the other day. If you go to YouTube and look up Roblox, which is the most popular game for little kids, it shows all sorts of evil, creepypasta videos, and there are adults doing videos, playing these games, and then attaching them to grotesque features. Rainbow Tree Friends, which shows basically MURDER on a regular basis of cartoon animals. Rainbow Friends are creepy animals that chase you. I can't imagine how many kids are getting nightmares from just what is considered kids' content on these platforms. It's disturbing. So thank you. I ranted. I'm done. Dex, let's go over the web only. We've got a lot of stuff here, and just so many crazy things. In fact, we have a couple things that we should touch on because they didn't make it into the main show, but man, there's some crazy stuff here, like the Tesla driver charged with intentionally plunging his family off a California cliff, and they all survived. 300-foot fall.
Exactly. And I think we also, there's another one for Taiwan developing their own Starlink. So that's another interesting story you guys should check out. It is linked on the website. It's there. But the government there is now working with the Ministry of Digital Development, the National Space Center, and commercial manufacturers to establish their own version of Starlink. So they're doing it for military purposes. It's not because they need internet out in the middle of nowhere. They recognize the fact that having this redundant and in the sky, so to speak, network connectivity is critical to their future and their defense. So yes, lots going on in the overflow. And where's the overflow? It's on our website. Go to marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show, or if you're on YouTube or Rumble, just open that description and click on the link that says show notes. It'll take you right here. This is where the rest of the story is. So some interesting things. Hey, Mike Rowe, I used to love watching that Dirty Jobs. I think he's actually coming back. He's talking about 7 million American men that are done looking for work. That's a pretty staggering figure. You can learn more about that. There was this guy who was a fake teen doctor. He's been in the news before and in trouble before, is now sentenced for a new scam, now going, I think he's 25 years old. He's no longer a teenager. And then, of course, the Tesla incident that we talked about yesterday. It turns out that the father, who was a doctor, who was the driver, intentionally did that. So he's been arrested. And I guess we'll find out more details about how they know that. And, I can only imagine what kind of information came out. Fortunately, everyone did survive, but I do remember from yesterday, there was some people in critical condition from it. So we'll find out how that plays out Hopefully the family all recovers quickly, and if he did what they allege he does, has to serve some time for that. Probably a lot of time, hopefully. You never know in California, though. Hey, there's some stuff going on with some vandalism over in specifically a Christian site, and they're kind of upset with some other folks there. They are claiming that did it. That's in the news. Updates with Damar is there as well. We already talked about the bomb cyclone. That's happening, and that's on the back of that what's it called, an atmospheric river that was just, I think that thing can dump more water than the mouth of the Mississippi at one time. So that's kind of a crazy event that's happening to all the folks in California and all the folks on the West Coast, because obviously Adam's getting hit up in Washington. So the T-Man saga is there, which is really his news today was trying to get McCarthy voted in. That didn't work. So we now have day 2 of no Congress. That means that they can't do anything. They keep going in to try to elect the Speaker of the House, and they fail to do it because they're holding out. Nobody wants this guy. Well, not nobody. Enough people don't want him, so they can't get him elected. And I guess it's been like 6 votes in a row now that he has failed. I don't think we've ever seen something like that happen in a long time. So that'll be in tomorrow's news. I'm sure we'll find out what happens if it continues to go on, or if they finally come to an agreement to pick a different person. Our president's planning to go to the border, apparently. That'll be interesting to see what happens. It's just a plan at this point. And there has been a lot of topics. A lot of that topic is going on down in Florida around the Keys. So there's updates about that. Updates around CV, especially in New Jersey in the school districts. And some more updates from Xi's country around CV that's in there as well. So that and a lot more, head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for today's show, scroll down to this yellow bar called Overflow. You'll find the rest of the story. We put it together for you every night. Again, if you're on YouTube and Rumble, it's even easier. Just click on that show notes link. You don't even have to leave the app. It's right there in the description.
And so with the new Twitter, I don't know if the same thing is going to happen, but before in 2019, all of a sudden Twitter videos started coming out of these people going, ugh, and all of that. If this is replaying like it did in 2019, then that could be quite scary. But I wonder, because this is, all of the articles are reflecting that the same thing is happening over there that happened in 2019 in the same time period, December, January, and right after a tabletop exercise that was done just months before. And now there are, of course, mandates returning to school districts and things like this. Hopefully we don't see a replay. As far as that family, I did tweet that out. Well, so we don't 100% know if he did it on purpose, but I from what I saw is the wife ended up telling police that he basically took them off the side of it. If he did do that, that is a sicko. That's somebody disgusting. He had a 7-year-old in the car, 4 people. But one thing I will say, you don't have to be an Elon fan to say that Teslas are insane. So if you know how a Tesla is made with the lithium batteries and all that stuff, I have seen pictures, and I literally did this one thing where I I was an assistant to somebody who did like the insurance things. What do you call it? The quotes. And they showed me pictures of Teslas with 2 semi-trucks on either side, and it didn't crush the body of the Tesla. And somehow, because the battery is so heavy, that a lot of Teslas, I've covered stories where a Tesla went off a thing and went into a building and was basically intact, and it took out a steel wall. So the Teslas themselves are insane. So the fact that they went off 250 to 300 feet and the entire family survived, that's nuts. I wonder if they'll have a Thelma and Louise rewrite with a Tesla where they have a sequel because they're still alive. I don't know. That's probably going to be an ad for Tesla. But as far as that guy, if he did do this, that's absolutely a mental break, and dude deserves to be in prison. If it is true, we don't know. We'll cover the update on that, but it is pretty insane to survive that kind of fall in a car, and the car, everybody survived. That says a lot for the actual car. Remember, before he bought Twitter and everybody did all this, people absolutely loved Tesla cars. Let's see here. And then thank you, Marfoogle friends. Make sure to go check out our mods. We have an exclusive report from Ilea over on my Twitter. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as well. One of the last videos there is Ilea's video. Actually did a really good job reporting on the weather in California. Up here, we have insane weather. We're actually like basically prepping everybody in our household if we hear a huge crack to go outside or to go to a certain part of the house because we don't want a tree to fall on us, but it is nuts out there. Lisa R. Hall, wonderful person. CJ Blaze, Chance Paladin, Bones, Rip Curl Readiness, RJL Harris, Ilea, Trinity, Red Pill, Blue Pill, Hi Ho, Kermit the Frog here. Wages World, awesome guy. Make sure to go subscribe to him. He does great solar coverage, and he did a great video the other day with us over on Marfoogle News. Check him out. Check out the Lifeboat. Love you guys. Love you. And thank you to everybody that joined us tonight, including Jason Beck, Stephen McMahon, J.R. Pell Horse, Beer Juice, Greg Martin, Carol McLean. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. And, of course, thank you, J.R. Nika Talaka. Thank you for your support. Kimberly LaBelle says, yum. Charles Jenkins, thank you so much. 24 to 36 months after the VX. Need this cover-up VX. Time for massive WW3. Charles Jenkins, you could be right. And it's funny because people predicted back then. We covered some of the predictions, and then now all of a sudden everybody's dropping. Liz Potter, Jesus is Lord. John 14:6, blessings and peace to the Mafia. Liz, thank you for that. Bible Talk 777 says, checking in, hi, and God bless everyone in the name of Jesus. Shane Reed, greetings and Happy New Year's. And then everybody else, love you. Be safe, be prepared, and marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. Thank you, Dex. I love you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
It's not a shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's not an outro. It's a shoutro.
I was on a high back when I met Jesus Christ. And it made things right. I was seeking now, I was heaven now. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. I was seeking now, I was heaven now. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. I was at a low, I was on a high back when I met Jesus Christ. And it made things right. I was seeking now, I was heaven now. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. I was seeking now, I was heaven now. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. I've got back around, I'ma see him, I'm going back around with the dove eyes. I say, go right. Cali sing, Michelle, K, Hamburg, Nana, Allen V. Will it, Wayne, I'll Jody, you know. I see hard thick in the gym, and the slurps in her hair, and barrel my queen. Hang back round and we gotta stay clean. I said Dan Johnson and the Marcus Sparky, Pamela Gasper and Mr. Party. I say, I see a hard thing. I was at a low, I was on a high, back when I met Jesus Christ. And it made things right. I was seeking now, I was heaven now. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. I was seeking now, I was heaven now. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm gonna be your friend. Coming back to that good old Backland rock. Everybody won't be in heaven now. I'm your friend. I said, Danny Lee, Lisa R. Liz Parker, and Mr. Carl. I said, Sydney Gillespie. One on B.A., Anna Danny Lee. I see, I got Greg Martin. I'm Steven Savage, 1974. My dad is in the 101st and the 82nd in the 50s. D.W. David's way. Willa, hey, Jeremy, Millie, Ilya. I said, well, I'm going that way. I got Angela Marie, Lisa Hall, Danny Lee, and Carol McLean, y'all. All just having a nice day. Have a fun. Hey, my Deborah, ever heard I say this way? Craigslist said to Everett, it was there, lost the dog. I got prayers for you. Everybody gon' and pop and dance. Everybody gon' go and pop and dance. Thank you for our top supporters tonight. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming by our little channel here. Charles Jenkins, thank you so much. Nika Telaka, Kimberly LaBelle, Liz Potter, Bible Talk 777, Shane Reed, Stephen McMahon, Jason Beck, Sabo,
Navy Man, J.R. Pale Horse, thank you so much. Richard Ball, thank you so much for being the top supporter last night. SM Ariel's Perspective, thank you. I got the marshmallow and the bottle in the goes fade away, and now all of it goes round in the big old circle. Everybody like purple. Hey, with the tea bacon and corn, I'm dropping it, sweet hippopotamus, awesomest, optimist.